Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's Mindset Minutes. So, you may have heard the saying, birds of a feather flock together, right? And it basically implies that like things attract like things. You know, people who think similarly, sometimes even look similar, or maybe they enjoy similar hobbies or music or foods or cultures or just pastime activities, tend to gravitate and find each other. And that can be a really beautiful and wonderful thing. It brings people together, it gives them common ground. However, it can also have a downside if it slips into what's called the law of familiarity. When you get exposed to a person, a place, a thing, even an action or a habit, over and over and over, you start to lose sort of the appreciation and gratitude and joy even from that person, place, thing. If it starts to plateau into the too familiar. And you've probably seen this in some parts of your life. If you sometimes wake up and feel like it's Groundhog's Day, then you might be experiencing this law of familiarity where everything is just sort of rolling into each other. But it can definitely wreak havoc in different areas of your life. Relationships, very clearly obvious why that could happen. You know, when you meet somebody and it's really exciting and it's fun and you'll do anything to make that person happy. That's often what happens in the beginning of a relationship. My husband and I still laugh at some of the adventures I dragged him on and he went on in the beginning of our relationship just because that's what you do. But now, not so much. But there needs to be a way to keep that excitement, keep that appreciation, keep that love alive. And I think all of life is this constant sort of tension between familiar, because human beings like familiar. It's safe, it's comfortable, it doesn't feel threatening, so we're not stressed. And it just feels like, that good feeling of being in a familiar place. And that's necessary. We like that, and it can, bring us common ground and common bonds and friends and all sorts of great experiences too. However, we need growth. We need to step outside of our comfort zone or that familiarity zone in order to grow, in order to experience life, in order to learn, in order to expand our horizons. And we know from, scientific studies about the brain and just people's overall fulfillment or happiness scales that really they're happiest when they do push themselves outside their comfort zone. So again, it's that constant sort of tension of when are you getting too familiar, and then when do you need to push yourself past that line of comfort? And certainly in, your job, perhaps. Maybe even if you do different things, there's still a kind of familiarity to it, and perhaps a comfort. Maybe you're not stretching yourself as much as you did when you started. Maybe you're not being as creative or bold or trying out new things because it's just easier to do, And that's when we start to lose that luster and the edge and the excitement and the things that will ultimately make us happy and fulfilled. And it gets a little boring and we land in complacency, and then things start to sort of spiral downwards. Also, our things. Has there ever been a thing you've always wanted? Maybe it was a car or a piece of jewelry or an electronic device or sports equipment or something that you were just dreaming about, and you finally got it and you loved it for days, weeks, months, maybe even years. And now maybe it's in a closet, maybe you're, you don't use it as much anymore, or you're like now looking at the new shiny object, like that one, whatever. I once wanted it, but now I'm over it. The instant gratification, gone. And it can happen with our actions or our habits as well, right? If you've started a new physical routine and maybe you're getting very familiar with going to the gym, you do the same thing, you lift the same amount of weights, or you're taking the same classes, or you're playing the same sport. And again, there can be a comfort in that, and that can be good, and it's probably better than not going at all. And yet, in order to really get stronger, improve your endurance, or to stretch yourself and to not make it boring so that, you eventually fall off the wagon, you need to put a little bit of spark to it. I know for myself, I'm specifically using the gym. It can be any habit. It could be something else. But, when I start to feel like I'm getting too familiar, I'll either, enter some sort of an event so that I know that I have to work a little harder, or I will mix it up and try something new, some new sport or something that I haven't done. Or I'll try to, test my limits just a little. Again, pushing it more into that growth space because I'm getting just a little too familiar. So take a look at your life and what areas perhaps are you maybe falling into that place of too much comfort, a little too much complacency. It can lead to boredom. It can lead to a lackluster feeling about your life, yourself, sort of a malaise. And the antidote to that is to really push just a little bit more in that other direction. And to put yourself just a little more outside of your comfort zone, or really just get connected to what those things were, whether it's a person, a place, or a thing, or an action. What was it that you loved about it? And really connect and feel that gratitude or that appreciation for it. Or try just a little harder to make it a little better. A little bit can sometimes go a long way and just revive that familiar thing and make it feel refreshed and better than ever before. So either way, whether you're feeling grateful, reviving that sort of love or that appreciation for it, or whether you're pushing yourself just a little bit more into out of your comfort zone, it's an important way to manage falling into the doldrums of the law of familiarity. So on that note, I send you out to push yourself outside your comfort zone or go deeper into gratification and appreciation for the things that are in your life, because all of that in its entirety will add to your happiness and your ultimate fulfillment.